Has the Bible just predicted World War III? Some believe that the upcoming war between global superpower blocs may very well be the war of Gog and Magog, a massive battle foretold in the Bible that will bring about the end times. What does the Bible actually say about this coming war? And could we be seeing its beginnings today? Let's dig into the prophetic writings of the Old Testament and find out. The books of Ezekiel 38 and 39 describe the coming of a day when there will be a great battle fought between the forces of good and evil. Is the war of Gog and Magog being planned right now by world leaders? We should be alert and aware of what is happening in the world around us and be prepared for the tribulation period, which will precede the war of Gog and Magog. The book of Ezekiel describes the forces of Gog and Magog as coming from the extreme north of Israel, attacking her people who had survived the Great Tribulation. In response, God will intervene in the conflict and defeat the invaders, scattering them and leaving the nation of Israel victorious. Many believe that the war of Gog and Magog will be a sign of the end times and the return of Jesus Christ. The invading army comes across a land lying desolate, with people living in it in a state of ruin and devastation, rebuilding their homeland after the tribulation. They have lived under the oppression of other nations and have suffered greatly, but God promises to protect his people during this time of war. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Please leave a comment down below. Also, please make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, so that you don't miss out on any of my videos. It's a war that has been interpreted by many to be the final battle of all time, known as the Battle of Armageddon. But some take the prophecies of Ezekiel a bit more literally and believe that they detail a future war that will be fought in the Middle East, specifically in the mountains of Israel. The Bible tells us that the war of Gog and Magog will be the result of the latter days, when the nation of Israel will be in a state of peace and prosperity. It will be triggered by the invasion of Israel by a confederation of nations led by two figures known as Magog and Gog. Together, they lead an invading force that is vast and powerful, seeking to plunder the riches of the nation of Israel. This coming war is one that will involve much of the modern world and could change history forever. This war is mentioned not only in the Bible, but also in the Quran, which further adds to the mystery of its origins. There are many different opinions on the subject, but most agree that it will be a time of great chaos and destruction. However, those who believe that the war of Gog and Magog is yet future point to the specificity of the details in Ezekiel. This prophecy is evidence that it must be talking about a future event. They argue that the mention of specific geographical locations, such as the mountains of Israel, as well as the involvement of nations that are not yet at war with Israel, such as Turkey, Iran, and Libya, indicate that the prophecy has not yet been fulfilled. Those who believe that the war of Gog and Magog is yet future believe that it will be a large-scale battle that will involve most of the countries of the world and will result in the second coming of Jesus Christ. They interpret the mention of Gog and Magog as being symbolic of a rising alliance of nations against Israel, possibly even led by Russia. They believe that this war will be a major event in the lead-up to the end times, bringing about the return of Jesus Christ. In contrast, many scholars believe that the prophecy of Gog and Magog has already been fulfilled in past conflicts, such as the invasion of Israel by the Assyrians or the war with the Seleucids in the 2nd century BC. But could the current global tensions be an indication that the stage is being set for this ancient predicted war? Many Christians believe that this prophecy will be fulfilled in our lifetime, that we are living in the final moments before the return of Jesus Christ. It seems that this war will be like no other, a war that will engulf the entire planet and bring about the end of days as we know it. However, they will face fierce resistance from the nation of Israel, who will call upon God for help. What do you think? Is the war of Gog and Magog something that we should be looking out for, or is it simply a biblical story that has already come to pass?